There are some new images and details for Oppenheimer thanks to a newly published article by Entertainment Weekly, which focuses on an interview between director Christopher Nolan and actor Cillian Murphy. They talk about their experiences working together, the first-person approach to the script, and filming in the real locations with real scientists. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the interview, the images, and details shared, breaking down the latest info from the film. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my content surrounding Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. But without further ado, let's discuss the new details for Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. So alongside the tense trailer that was released a few days ago, hearing what the director and his actor had to say about the upcoming film is sure to get you even more excited about what's in store. In an article from Entertainment Weekly, we got an extended interview from Christopher Nolan and Cillian Murphy, where they talk about the films they had done together in the past, but also a bit more about their upcoming projects. Alongside this, we got an image of Cillian Murphy's Oppenheimer surveying the atomic bomb that he helped to build, likely taking place around a few days before the Trinity test in Los Alamos. We also got an image of both Nolan and Murphy filming another scene, which looks to be in one of the rooms at the constructed base in New Mexico, and that's because of the K6 badge that Cillian's character is wearing, which was just one that the many scientists and workers had on the ranch. In the interview that's included, they talk about how Cillian might have been Bale's Batman, the emotional connection to losing a father, having seen what Nolan did with the end of Inception, and also how Cillian is great at playing the more psychological parts, like seen in his previous Nolan roles and with that of Dunkirk. And that's when they began to talk about Oppenheimer and how Cillian felt when he was asked to finally play the lead role in a Christopher Nolan movie. Nolan said, "No one knew what I was up to, no one knew what I was doing. To be able to pick up the phone and call Cillian and be like, this is the one where you carry the movie and really get to show what you can do, it's honestly one of my favourite moments in the movie business when I had that conversation with him." Murphy then replied, "It was one of the best days of my life, I'll tell you that, when you called me. I'll always turn up for Chris, no matter what the part is, but secretly, it's a dream to play a lead part. The thing was, I had no idea, there was no preamble or anything, I just got the call. So it was incredibly exciting and daunting and terrifying all at the same time." And this is where they began to go into some more interesting details about the film, and in particular, the approach that Nolan took with the script, which sounds a lot different to what we've seen before. Cillian Murphy said it's the best script he's ever read, and then Nolan began to detail that it was completely written in first person. He said, "I flew over to Dublin to hand Cillian the script, he read it in my hotel room, I went off to look at the Francis Bacon installation in the Hugh Lane Gallery and then came back. I'm actually curious if the fact that the script was written in the first person will have added to the feeling of responsibility that you were going to have taking it on." And Murphy replied, "Yes, massively. That's the only script that I've ever read that's been in the first person. It took me a minute, maybe a bit more than a minute to figure that out. But then it became clear that you wanted it to be completely subjective, that everything was to be seen through the character's eyes, as it were, and again, yeah, that added massively to the terror. But when it's Christopher Nolan, you just have that confidence. You believe 100% in his vision, as I have always done. So it was terribly exciting." So it's really interesting that Nolan has took a first-person approach to the script, and in my opinion, it's actually quite genius considering how the source material is written and what the filmmaker has to go on. The book, which I'm a good chunk through right now, is mainly written from the perspective of many, detailing the specifics surrounding what happened and what certain people and scientists feel towards the twisty events that took place. Yes, there are many quotes from Oppenheimer and notes towards his feelings in certain situations, but it's not this purely first-person perspective throughout the course of the book. But Nolan, by probably doing his extended research, has found a way to center this through the eyes of Oppenheimer and in turn make it feel like that much more of a unique biopic film. Of course, it helps when you film in all of the real locations with top-tier actors too, and really hone in on the authenticity of the story as much as possible. And the filmmaker and actor did go a little bit more into that as the interview continued. Nolan said, "The shoot was very sort of fast and furious and efficient. Hoyt van Hoytema and myself, from the technical end, we kind of jumped back to an earlier point in both of our careers when we had no steady cam on set, we had no playback or monitors. We were approaching it in a very stripped down manner which gave us a terrific energy. I think it gelled very well with the ensemble nature of the piece. Even though Oppenheimer is at the center of it, we had this incredible ensemble of actors bringing so much to the table, and we really wanted to be able to move fast, jump around, and capture anything that was going to get thrown up by that." Murphy added, "Every day you had these phenomenal actors who are heroes of mine coming in. Every day you were having to raise your game to work with these legends. Everybody was so unbelievably well prepared. Every single actor, no matter what size their role or the significance of their character in history, each one of them had this massive depth of knowledge that they could draw on." And the final thing they both went into was about how they filmed at the real Los Alamos and did so with real scientists. Nolan said, "I was thinking that it even applied to the extras. We were in the real Los Alamos and we had a lot of real scientists as extras. We needed the crowd of extras to give reactions and improvise, and we were getting sort of impromptu, very educated speeches. It was really fun to listen to. You've been on sets where you've got a lot of extras around and they're more or less thinking about lunch. These guys were thinking about the geopolitical implications of nuclear arms and knew a lot about it. It actually was a great reminder every day of, we have to be really on our game, we have to be faithful to the history here and really know what we're up to." Of course, Nolan has always been a sucker for making what's on screen as real as possible, whether it be filming a plane crash for real, recreating the events of Dunkirk at the exact beach, or in general, going to real locations and choosing not to use much green screen. In Oppenheimer, there's obviously less action and it's more the dramatic telling of this story that carries the weight, but filming at the actual base and Trinity test site is something that will definitely carry across that realism. Los Alamos is the big location in the book that both Oppenheimer chooses as the place to develop and test the bomb, but also somewhere where he particularly loved to go to when it came to early camping trips with his friends and family. So you have to really establish this location as Oppenheimer's place, and by rebuilding it on the actual spot and using real scientists for the scenes is hopefully going to make you feel like you are there as an audience member. It's going to be interesting to see how it all looks on screen, and also how the filmmaker captures other integral moments like the actual Trinity test, being able to film and recreate an atomic explosion. Like he mentioned in that Total Film article back in December, I'm guessing he's going to be doing it on a much smaller level, similar to how he filmed part of the Batmobile chase scene in The Dark Knight using miniatures, but whatever route he does take, knowing Nolan, he'll probably find a way to make it look incredible on the big screen. We'll have to see, but overall, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he captures Los Alamos and the small details from the book that find their way into the footage. But they were the main details released from the Oppenheimer interview in Entertainment Weekly's article. I will link the article down below in the description if you want to read it yourself, and I'm sure we'll be getting much more details on the film leading up to its release this July. I am going to be posting the next video in my Road to Oppenheimer series next week too, and that upload is going to be about how they might recreate the Trinity test scene in relation to how it's described in in the American Prometheus book. Also, if you haven't seen it already, I did do an extended trailer breakdown the other day if you want to know more details about the new footage. But overall, there's going to be plenty of Oppenheimer on the channel in the coming months, and these new details really do get me excited to see how Nolan will authentically show this story on the big screen with his full ensemble of great actors. But when it comes to the new details and images, I'm interested to hear what you guys think towards all of it, as well as your theories on how Christopher Nolan will film some of the other big moments from the book. So let me know down below in the comment section. For much more videos and news on Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.